All right, Incredible Hoax. I'm Chris,
Marco.
and we are bringing to you the final segment of our top 10 favorite, top best of films of all time.
Best
He
of all
he
time.
don't he don't fart around, man. He's like brings it. All right, we're going to devote this whole segment here to the final four, top two of our lists. So I'm going to let you lead off with your number two.
Well, number two, The Lord of the Rings. That is Peter Jackson's trilogy.
He's cheating. He's so cheating. But go ahead.
Well, folks, do you really want me to grade each of the three? Come on, that's so boring. We all know that it was meant to be one story anyway. So, Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's did a great job. Uh, they shot them over the course of 2-3 years. They shot them
a long time.
Yeah, they shot them all at once. It was just a mammoth, gargantuan enterprise to get that thing shot.
Yeah.
So that Herculean task aside, then to make a film that is so entertaining. So many times we've seen in years past where films get shot back to back, and then you can tell because the energy level just drops off. Particularly when there's the second or third film, it just starts to drop. There is no drop off. If anything, Return of the King is every bit as vibrant and more action packed than the first two put together. Right. So there is a crescendo there, without a doubt.
Right.
He elicits great performances from so many of the cast members.
Even he got Liv Tyler. He even got Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler does fine. He got great performances, and they cast right. They got the chemistry right. Because sometimes it's not always about just getting a good actor and put him in a role. It's getting chemistry right. That is so
Viggo
crucial.
Viggo Mortensen was
and he was the last person
Yeah.
cast in that film.
And he actually wasn't the first choice
No,
at all.
They actually shot for 2 days and realized the other guy was too young and wasn't right for the role. And they had to literally, get Viggo on the phone and he had 2 hours or whatever to decide, and on a plane he was for the next 2 years. Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
To have to decide in 2 hours if you wanted to be, in New Zealand for 2 years.
But you had a good career before that, but it wasn't anything that he had since.
Right, exactly.
But not like this. Now he's a leading man now and everything else. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, when you think about a film like Amadeus, and the two main stars were actors who were little known, but they cast the right people for those roles, and it ended up being a great film. Same thing here. That is so key to cast the right people sometimes, and not just necessarily have names. And because you might get someone who is a celebrity or someone who is an established actor, but maybe they're not quite right for the role. Mm-hmm. And sometimes just a little luck helps you as well. So the cast was certainly key to making this thing fly. I don't want to overstate that, but anyway, great direction. This was a labor of love. You can tell from top to bottom, the score, the special effects, the costume and art direction. These people, there's so many. If you go and buy the DVDs and watch the behind the scenes, it's I swear everybody, you had 2,000 people work on this movie, and every one of them were uber Tolkien fans. Right. And when are you going to see that again in Hollywood? I guess maybe The Hobbit.
All right.
But not the same result. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to make this statement before I start. I guarantee you our number twos, my number two, your number two, elicits the most lukewarm reaction out of anything else on our list from each other. I think my number two, you're very lukewarm on. Okay. And vice versa. Lord of the Rings fan, you are a million times more of a fan than I am. When they came out, I watched them. I enjoyed them. I bought the special edition DVDs that had the extra hour of footage and all the stuff. So I liked them. Did I get what the big deal was and think they were this great revolutionary filmmaking? On a special effects level, I did. But beyond that, no, I didn't. I didn't think that they were that great. And to be honest, I still don't think they're that great. But I will say this: in terms of special effects, they're landmark. The CGI was invented for movies like Lord of the Rings. It's not made to make car chases cooler. I mean, look at the Road Warrior. Practical effects is the best way to make car chases happen.
Right.
But CGI was used the proper way. You couldn't have the trolls, the big, huge, 30-foot trolls or whatever they have in Lord of the Rings without CGI. And that's why you have CGI to create these worlds you couldn't create without them. Gollum and those type of things. So on that level, it's landmark, and I applaud it. Downside is somewhat drawn out a lot on some of the plot lines. They get a little tedious to me. The whole taking the ring to the Mountain Doom and throwing the fire, that gets kind of really tedious. Also, the weight of it all, the whole seriousness, kind of like, okay, I get it already. Yeah, this is like a heavy burden. And The Hobbit, it does it too. It's almost like there's a little too much self-importance by the characters and even the direction of the film. It's like they put so much dramatic weight on everything. It just burdens the whole film, and it's just sort of a little bit tiring to me. That's the negative side. Do I like them? Yeah. Do I put them in the top, 200 movies? Probably 200, not 100. But that's a weird thing about our number twos. We're so lukewarm on each other's. Yeah. Very weird. That the number 2 spot would be the one we'd be like, that's the one I'm everything, even The Matrix, I'm like, that's a good movie. And then you hear number 2, I'm like, And I know mine, you're kind of the same way, So, I like them. Don't get me wrong. They're great filmmaking, and he deserved that damn Best Director's Oscar that he won. So don't think I'm diminishing it too much. That I don't want to come off as a hater. But now the Hobbit series, I will say this. The Hobbit series that's out now that we're fixing to have the last installment of this Christmas has only proven how great the Lord of the Rings effort was, because frankly, I'm so disappointed in this Hobbit series. I actually kind of think it's terrible, to be honest with you. I really think it's kind of awful. And I'm saying that to say that that's how great an achievement Lord of the Rings was, because like the Hobbit, which is some of the same material, is just that's falling apart. And you mentioned casting, like Evangeline Lilly. What the hell is she doing in the movie? She's so horrible in it. The main dwarf guy in the Hobbit.
She looks like Liv Tyler. What do you mean?
That's where it ends. It starts and ends there. She makes Liv Tyler look like a great actress, and I'll leave it at that. You can insert your own sarcastic comment there. The main dwarf guy, he suffers from the whole like overwroughtness and stuff. And I don't want to turn this into a Hobbit bashing session, but I'm trying to use that as a juxtaposition so to say, like, the Lord of the Rings are great filmmaking. Just looking at the Hobbit, it's like even he couldn't repeat it. Even he couldn't repeat what he did with Lord of the Rings, and he's trying with Hobbit, and it's not working. So even he could not repeat the majesty of what he did.
Well, I know a lot of people feel that way about the Hobbit. They are lukewarm on it.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to. I know that the Hobbit is a different story, and I know most people get that.
Yeah.
I think they're outstanding forms of entertainment, but because the story is what it is, it's a different kind of a story.
Mm-hmm.
The book itself was meant to be more of a children's, story, and then he's making his prequel basically to his Lord of the Ring.
Right.
So, and then you've got it being spread out over 3 feature-length films, which is really, I think, a lot of people are complaining about that Hollywood's doing, breaking one book into multiple films now. I'm disturbed by the trend too.
Yeah, I hate that. Now trilogies have gone to 4 quadrilogies.
Yeah.
You make now 2 movies out of the last book. You make 4 movies.
Well, Avatar,
really
it's not getting 2 sequels. So for a trilogy, it's getting 3 sequels.
Yeah.
But
that's tiring.
But I realize those things. But for what The Hobbit is, I think it's an outstanding entertainment. Is it Lord of the Rings? No, but I think it still works for me.
Right.
But the great thing about Lord of the Rings is it was made at a time when films weren't taking themselves that serious. You know, these big budget and the CGI and all that.
Yeah.
Just 2 years before the Fellowship of the Ring came out was a film like The Mummy, which was more kind of you know, had action but had the comedy, was just kind of a fast break kind of a story, you know, and
it was fun.
It was just a fun kind of movie. But then Lord of the Rings comes along, it's giving you the action, it's giving you these great effects and set pieces, but then the drama and the actors are playing totally in character and being very serious, and that was what was special about Lord of the Rings. I'm disturbed though. There's so many movies that have been made in like the last 5 years where they should have been doing a fun movie, and so we'll do Lord of the Rings, and it's like, oh gosh, just have some fun here. Ridley Scott made that Robin Hood movie. It was terrible. He took himself so serious, and it was clear. Well, I'm going to make a Lord of the Rings like Peter Jackson did, and I'm like, it doesn't work for every story. Well, it did work for this great trilogy we're talking about, Lord of the Rings. It worked for there, but sometimes you just need to have some fun.
Well, Matrix came out the same year as Phantom Menace. And Matrix took a fantasy story very seriously and created a whole new mythology. Phantom Menace took a story very half-ass and destroyed a whole mythology. In some ways, The Matrix blazed a way for Lord of the Rings to come along and take a fantasy movie very seriously. And that, in turn, led to the Dark Knight trilogy being taken so seriously. You wouldn't have it without Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The Man of Steel owes to all that.
Sure.
The whole reinvention of the Marvel comics that we've had in the past decade, starting with Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, owes all that, I think, to Lord of the Rings in a lot of way. I'm not sure what year the first Spider-Man came out. I think it came out.
The first one came out in 2002.
All right, so there you go.
But you saw each film that he made got darker and darker. Certainly 2007's
I think
Spider-Man
Marvel
3 was dark.
I think the whole seriousness of the whole geekdom type movies owes itself to what Peter Jackson did over the reinventing all that with Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So I don't dismiss it. It's not a top film for me. Even in fact, none of those are top films for me. I don't like fantasy movies per se, which should not be shocking based on my top 10. Star Wars is the only exception. Star Wars, for some reason, is the only exception. We'll get more to that later.